Should the death penalty be reinstated?
Of course, yes, the death penalty should be reinstated because like there's so many people that deserve the death penalty. Like to be like, come on, people that rape people, the serial rapes, the people that are mass murderers. Like, come on, do they deserve to leave? Do you think they deserve to leave?
But don't you think a life in prison may be worse than death?
No, not really, because there's some people that actually deserve like to die, like because they usually stay in prison to kill other people too. So
So
I understand.
if we look at the death penalty and people on death row, which is waiting to be executed,
Yeah.
it costs countries millions of pounds just to keep them on death row, to keep them in the cells, to give them food, and to keep them protected. And it costs millions of pounds to do that. Don't you think that's a waste of money?
Yeah, but then like at the end of the day, they could reduce all of that because why wait for long? Why wait for them to kill them when they know you're gonna kill them? Like what's the point of waiting? They could just cut down the time. Like there's no need of all the wait. Like just cut it down. There's really no need. Like because you already know they're gonna die anyway. So why wait? Why feed them? Like why do you get what I'm saying? Why spend more money on them? I don't see a reason for that.
One of the big reasons for that is because they can still be on trial. And what a lot of people on death row do is appeal their case, and so they will be keep going from judge to judge. And another thing to consider is wrongful convictions. What if you find somebody who was wrongfully convicted and you have the death penalty and you just executed an innocent man?
But that's a special. That's those are special circumstances, and I see and understand where your point is coming from. I can understand where you're coming from, but at the end of the day, like there should be like a minimum, like amount of like appeals you can get because like I understand what you're saying, but then the other people too that that they did this, there's enough proof on them, and they still do all of that. So there should be a limit, like as to what they allowed to try, and that will give them a sense of oh, should I waste this? Should I not waste this? Actually get like proper proof. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand. Thank you.
During the conversation, I observed that in terms of Nicole, she kept on saying like, and I felt that if she could relax, take a deep breath, just think about what she wants to say before she says it, and she'll be so much better. And also in terms of Austin, he kept on like he stammered as well. So I also feel like if you could take a deep breath, calm down, think about what he wants to say and how he wants to say, it'll be so much better. Other than that, it was a good conversation, a lot of constructive criticism, and yeah, it went well in my own opinion. Why should businesses have open offices?
I think they should have open offices because it allows the employees to be more creative and more social. Why do you think they should be closed?
They should be closed because apart from the creative and apart from them being more creative when they're closed, also they tend to focus more and get the job more, and their productive level is also higher. Whereas if they're more in the open office, it's more chances of biasism, criticism, just them not performing to the best of their abilities. Do you understand where? Do you see where I'm coming from?
I do, but don't you think that creativity in a business is a little more important than petty little arguments between employees and biases? I think creativity can boost the business's efficiency and give the workplace a better morale.
Yes, of course. Creativity is a very, very important thing in business, but does not mean that you have for a business to be open. Doesn't mean that you have to have an open office to get the creativity. Some people actually work well more when they're more in their space. No one disturbing them. They get more creative than that. While some people just don't know how to, work well with open offices. So I think it all just depends on the kind of setting and the kind of business it is, and yeah.
I do agree. I think it can depend on the type of business, whether you should have closed or open offices. This was a good discussion.
It was a very good one. Thank you.
Thank you. I noticed during the discussion that Nicole had a tendency to rush what she was saying, and her words blend a little too much. She also tends to throw her hands around while she's talking for a form of emphasis. And I noticed she also looks away from who she's speaking to, which can be not too good when in a discussion. Now, for Austin, I noticed that he was slouching a lot during it. He tended to pause a lot more than he needed to, and he stuttered and used and like a couple of times. For future, I would say to sit up more straight, and if you need to relax, take a breath, pause, and continue what you were saying, and have a few more points, as Austin didn't talk as much as he probably should have. But they did come to a good agreement at the end and ended it very civilly. Hey, Nicole.
Hey.
Do you think students should be accepted to universities just because they're foreign?
Of course, they should be accepted to universities because they're foreign. Because I mean, in your university always wants to be known as being diverse and diversified. So if they accept foreign students, that shows that they're diversified. Don't you think they should be accepted?
Yeah, but I don't think diversity should be the number one thing on a university's mind. After all, we are here to study and learn, and that's the purpose of us being here.
Well, I see where you're coming from, and that's definitely true. But at the same time, you're not just here to learn. You're also here to learn about other things like culture, other people's culture. So if you're in a situation where you come into a university and there isn't, foreign students, then you're not learning about people's culture. And I am talking in terms of the fact that I'm, a foreign student as well. So I've got so many people coming up to me saying, oh, they want to learn about Nigerian stuff, what's going on with Nigeria and everything. And I find that very, very entertaining because not a lot of people want to know about things like that. So it just gives me hope when people say, oh, they want to learn about other things. So I think other people too want to also learn about things like that, which is why I think universities like to bring in foreign students, because they also help teach their home students, which are the British, about what's going on around the world. You literally learn from firsthand what exactly is going on, not just from the news. You learn it firsthand, what's going on. You learn their food, everything. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I do. And I get university, one of the big parts is that being an experience and learning about the world along with your studies. But I think it's not really fair to students who have great grades, better than another student. The student with good grades gets accepted over the student with great grades just because they're from a different country. It's not fair to the student with great grades who can't go to that university just because they weren't what that university needs.
Well, this is my first time of hearing something like this. I've never heard of a situation like this. I would think that would be the university's fault, not necessarily the foreign student's fault, because the foreign student also applies to come into university. It's not her fault if university decides to pick her over someone that has a better grade. Like, she's also the victim here, if you think about it. Like, I understand where you're coming from, but I think the issue should be with the university, not necessarily the foreign student, because clearly he or she is also coming here to study as well, and also to learn about the British this, and also I don't know if you know, but the UK in general are just really known for the universities, and especially the education, they're really known for it. So that's why most of us are here, not even just to learn about any culture or anything. We're mostly here just to learn, just as the same way you guys are also here to learn about university, to learn about your work and whatever you're going to do in the future. So I just think, it's like a mandatory thing. It's like a good thing to have. It's a positive thing to have, like, foreign students, because most of your friends at the end of the day sometimes turn out to be foreign students. Like, I've been in a situation where that's happened. Have you ever been in that kind of situation before?
I have not. But I think the big question here is it fair to the students?
No, it's not fair, and I see where you're coming from, but at the same time, it's also not fair to the foreign students not get in, if you understand where I'm coming from.
I do, and I think that's a good place to leave this. And
just observing the whole conversation, I realized that Austin didn't have a lot to talk about, and so in the process of that, he became too repetitive with his words. Also, Nicole was talking for too long, and she also spoke too fast as well. And it also didn't give Austin the chance to actually reply back to what she was saying, as well as the fact that she was also using her hands to explain her points. Going forward, I think it would be better if Nicole used less of her hands, talk in a more cohesive way, and just talk less faster than she is used to. And also with Austin, also have like research on the topic more than what he needs to. And yeah, by the end of the day, it was a very cohesive thing. Why should businesses have an open office? Why should businesses have an open office?
I think they should have an open office. Oh my god.
Why should businesses have open offices? God, I will stammer. Why should businesses have open offices?
I think they should have open offices because they can give the employees.
I actually tried. I really tried.
Hey Nicole, what's up? Hey Nicole.
Guys.